𝐷𝐤𝐞𝐚𝐽, CEO of Gladia, chats about the latest trends in AI and what AI ethics features should matter to business leaders in this AI-inspired conversation for AIauthority.com. 𝐷𝐤, it's so exciting to have you here today. We'd love to hear more in terms of your perspectives and observations around the state of AI today. What's exciting? What's interesting in the market? So AI is not just a buzzword. It's literally everywhere. You look at MarTech, you look at sales tech, you look at overall SaaS, you look at manufacturing, you look at warehouse operations, automation, intelligent automation, everything is picking up pace. And I think every area of our life, every area of business is largely being impacted today with AI. But I think when it comes to drilling down what artificial intelligence really is and what people or users or business leaders should be paying attention to, that's still like an evolving conversation. So I think we're excited to hear from you, your perspective all about AI today in this conversation. Welcome to the podcast, 𝐷𝐤. So good to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to do this episode with us. Why don't you first tell us about yourself and the story behind Gladia before we dive into the main part of the conversation?
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is 𝐷𝐤𝐞𝐚𝐽. Everyone calls me JL. It's easier this way. And thanks for having me. So I'm having 3 kids. So the first job I have is being a father. And then
The most
of course
exciting one. That's the most
most
exciting and interesting
exciting
one.
one, definitely the most tiring one, I guess.
Of course,
And then I
that
have a
comes
fourth
with.
kid. Yeah, and the fourth kid is Gladia that was born 3 years ago. And originally from France, as you can hear from my beautiful French accent. And I started the company after being I was OVH Cloud. That's the biggest European cloud provider there, and I was like seeing that it was time for me to be going into the entrepreneurship. AI was starting to boom, and I loved AI for quite some times. I've been in AI for like 15 years, and I thought it was time for me to start my own journey. So this is what we started with Gladia, and then very quickly we pivoted the company towards audio speech, because we're seeing that all the paradigms on the AI was going through a big change. So within AI, you have some revolutions, and one appeared 6-7 years ago, 7-8 years ago, actually. It was the Transformers, and we saw that this technology is going to impact everyone: the image, the audio, the video, and the text, of course, which is the starting basis was the text, actually. And we saw that speech was misaddressed, so we decided to focus on that because we knew the revolution within the AI field itself, going to Transformer, will come to the audio space at some point.
And I think it's been an interesting journey for you as well as Gladia. And for most entrepreneurs who are diving deeper into this space in terms of, coming out with innovative products or services that can benefit the larger audience, users like us and users like us. So when it comes to the current state of AI, especially in SaaS, there's AI everywhere. What most interests and excites you? What is kind of like, something that you think is going to redefine the marketplace in your perspective, from your point of view?
That's a very good question. Actually, I think you have two ways to see it, and I think every CEO entrepreneur should look it in two ways. The first one is the most visible one in the SaaS, is the features, like putting features everywhere, like putting voice interactions, for instance, is a big topic. We see a lot of banks going there, but having the chats, the chatbots that are smart, that are able to chat with the context, having some interactive visualizations that are a bit smarter than we used to have, having more insights across different type of data that was not easy to do in the past because you were mainly like focusing on unstructured data. Though you can go in unstructured data. So that's the visible part. I think there is another one that is even more exciting because I'm a nerd. Is the transformation within your company, and there are many innovations. Maybe you've heard about MCP from Claude, which is Model Context Protocol. So maybe it's a big word to say just that the AI now are able to kind of a bit the API paradigm 10 years, 15 years ago. It's a bit the same thing, but the AI is able to interact with APIs now by themselves. And I'm seeing many things, including us doing it internally. You can ask the AI to use those protocols to write new protocols and to communicate with other systems. And then those other systems are able to make you even smarter, to write other protocols to connect to other systems. So it's kind of the AI taking life per se itself within one organization. So it's pretty interesting. So you can have one protocol that's going to connect to your code, that reads the code, that understands the applications, now it's able to connect maybe to your CRM, because it's able to connect to a CRM, it's able to understand your customers, and the system that go through it, and then is able to go more and more into the billing system, the invoice systems, and all by itself. And I think you have two things that's going to be redefined: the SaaS per se, the experience, and the way you operate the company to be more efficient. And if you're more efficient, you can focus more on the customers and the experience. So that's pretty much where it's going now. And I think we need to be more and more cautious about what we do internally, because the cost remain the same for the company, but the speed of how the company are able to deliver will dramatically increase for the one that are able to embrace the change. And that's what's going to make people go away from your company. They're not going to be excited by working in your company. You're going to lose your talent, and you're going to be slow, and it's not going to be cost effective. So at some point, you need to ask your questions: what is externally, but also think a lot about the internal change.
Very interesting. So while we're talking about, what you just summed up, to talking about the internal change and not just thinking about it externally, I think there's another aspect that's very important to this entire piece, which is AI ethics, right? So a lot of companies are talking about AI, but there's a big, large looming hole when it comes to deploying it optimally and effectively. So that's one challenge that I think a lot of the business leaders as well as end users face, because the adequate training is going to still take time. Why? Because not everyone at the top level is completely certain as to how to use these tools, what tools are relevant to their business. And, I think the marketplace is, the way we see it, still going through a shiny new object syndrome. Everyone has a new AI powered feature. So everyone else wants to see what that is. So while that is kind of like playing out on the one side, the other side is capitalizing on all this new innovation, this new know-how, capitalizing on the impact of AI, but keeping in mind the AI ethics part of it, be it when you're using it for your HR purposes, when you're using it for your sales purposes, for your marketing purposes, because what's important to end users is you can scale faster, even for someone in content and content marketing like me. I can use AI to probably fuel my content plans, have more pieces posted and published, but how relevant is it? Is it well edited? Is it really researched? Because, my AI tool is probably the one I'm using. It's taking it from everywhere. So how do you understand what's fair? What where you should draw the line, and what ethics you should keep in mind with regards to all these different functions when you're using it across HR, marketing, sales, customer facing, or, for that matter, even when you're using it to clean up your data in terms of privacy, in terms of, where all of this is going to sit. How is AI going to use what it's accessing in the future? So what points do you have around this, very, very pertinent piece that not a lot of users or innovators are talking about?
That's an excellent question. It's not an easy one. Thanks for asking me. um, Actually, I think it's a bit early to have all the answers, and that's one of the reasons why people are not talking that much about it. If you think about cloud, 15 years ago, it was the beginning. Should I put my data in the cloud? Is it safe? Should I keep it home? Um, it's going to be maybe less secure than if I do it internally, etc., etc. And what we've seen over time, these kind of discussions got distilled across many think tank, many conferences, many roundtables, and stuff like that. 15 years after, we know what's good and what's not good. We know what we can put in the cloud. We know what we can um, um, keep in a private cloud. We know what we should keep home. And I think people um, need a bit of time to understand the paradigm and define the concept. And I think it's going to be pretty similar to what happened in the cloud. We are what is called tierings. So you have the tiering from the outside. It's okay if it's outside to be cloud. It's okay if it's in the middle. I'm able to be on someone else's infrastructure, but I want to be alone in this infrastructure. And so I'm okay to be in a big building with other people and sharing, I don't know, the toilets and sharing all the facilities. I'm okay to have my own house, but I rent it. And then I'm okay to have my own house and I own it. And that's kind of the free paradigm that we saw in the cloud. And I think it's going to be the same in AI. In my opinion, you're going to have some stuff that you are able to ask to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, whatever. There are going to be some others when you have to pay for the pro, and you have to pay for the pro features because you're sure that the data won't be used for the training. And then you're going to have everything that's going to be on premise, like internal to the company. And I think we will need to educate the people to know what to use. And honestly, even myself, sometimes I'm scared because there are some companies out there that I don't trust. And I won't give the names, but I think everyone has an idea, right? There are people, we don't know what they're going to do with the data, and they don't have a good reputation of like being fair into using the customer data, even for pro users. And that's a concern. And I think there is something that has to go with the brand on the one hand, and with the trust that people are going to have in the different brands. But it has to go also within the company to educate the people. Should you put an RFP on ChatGPT? I'm not sure. Should you put an RFP into your own LLM hosted by your company? I'm sure there is no issue. So those things, yes, you can write rules, but I think it comes to the people, how they understand this on a personal level. Because I said for the RFP, maybe you don't care. If I say now, you have a report from your doctor about like you having a cancer or whatever, where do you put it? Do you put on ChatGPT? Do you put on another provider, or do you self-host on your own machine and you run it locally because you don't want your employer or you don't want anyone to be aware of that? No, when it comes to you and your personal data, you get it. When it comes to the company data, you don't get it as easily. So I think it's about education, and it will come to the personal education, not only for the company, because you can put rules, whatever people will do. Sorry to say that, shadow IT anyways, right? So I think it comes a lot to personal data, being aware of what's being used. Am I scared for X, Y, Z? And then people will apply that in the business. But I think the company will have, it's going to take too much time for the company to realize that because the AI is going so fast and we need to do the transformation, but having programs and stuff like that is going to be hard. So that's my thought on that, about how to train the people. It comes to on your personal level. Does it scare you to put in X, Y, Z? Would you do that for your personal data? No. Then maybe don't use it for the same type of situation in your job. So that's how I see it. It's going to take time. It's not easy. The question is also about data, the user-generated content. Those systems to be smart and to serve you and to be amazing you on a daily basis. You talk about like many use cases, like product marketing and content. I think it can be amazing. Honestly, like I did a test today with the new GPT-4o. I put some branding guidelines that we have, like some existing visuals, and I said, "Hey, I have this new meetup we're gonna do at this date. This is the content of the meetup." I just copy paste like the Luma content in it, and I said, "Generate me a visual." This thing was purely branding as the company, like crazy. Over time, if I had to ask for a designer to redo, etc., I would have waited like a week. So you can see it in two ways. It can be dangerous on the one hand, saying people losing jobs, etc., but people will post on the social media anyways. So is it a problem on your side that people have an easy access to get branded content for your company? And that's a question, like maybe people will lose job on the one hand, and we can say, no, it's not the case, it's going to make a revolution. No, they're going to be people losing job. That's for sure. That's for sure. You have to make a trade-off as a company. There might be some people losing the job, but you might have a better understanding on the brand. Maybe people will be more aligned with the content strategy of the company, and you will benefit from it. So it's always like a pros and cons. I don't have any answer. I just have to say, people that say that you won't lose a job are liars. People that say that nobody use personal data are liars. And people that says that don't worry, we're going to do our stuff. You shouldn't trust them. So that's my point. Think about your personal data. Nobody is perfect. Everyone is lying in the business. Everyone wants more data. And that's the biggest problem for the algorithm. They need more data. So uh, trust the brand. Be careful of what they do. It's not because they are shining very well and doing amazing models that they are not like pumping your data to make some crazy things with it.
And when it comes to the fears, you did mention something about people will lose their jobs, which is something that everyone is, talking about these days. Which jobs? On the one hand, yes, people are going to lose jobs. But on the other hand, this entire AI-driven future that we're looking at is also creating a lot of new roles, you know, like chief AI officer, for example. That's just one of many. So in from your studies or observations in the marketplace the last couple of years, what are some of the other common fears surrounding AI in terms of, adoption and in terms of job roles? What are people in the industry really scared about? And how do you think all of this is going to lead to certain kinds of redundancies?
It's going to remove some redundancies for sure. Like there are many things that we can do now faster than ever, and they're going to be redundancies in the developers, a lot, actually. They're going to be some redundancies on the designers, the integrators. That's for sure. They're going to be some redundancies about over repetitive jobs. They will be in call centers, part of it. On the other end, I think they're going to be time that's going to be released to have more human conversation instead of having like sometimes stupid chatbots, that because nobody had the time to have a very strong conversation with the people. People were like your doctor used to be stuck at like taking notes while you were speaking on their computer and then spending like 15 minutes like clicking on the buttons to get you a prescription. People won't do that anymore. They will look you in the eyes and tell you what's your problem and spend time with you. And the 15 minutes they want, it's going to be 15 minutes of good communications instead of being hiding behind the screen. It's going to be the same for the nurse. They have a lot of paperwork to be done, etc. That's going to be done automatically. That's quality time. They're going to be quality time on customer support. Some people will lose their job. The bad ones, they will lose their job. But the good ones that have good quality, good communications will be amazing. People that are good designers, they will just have like more time instead of like clicking on the hold button. They're gonna have more time to think about the brand, to have more impact. The developers that are the good ones and that are able to embrace AI, they're gonna be able to deliver faster, more project, more creativity, more innovations. Maybe they're gonna become entrepreneurs. They are not good designer. They have an AI that's gonna help them with design or who's gonna work with designers that are like cheaper, that's gonna be able to deliver a lot. And we can go on and on. So I think they're gonna be more entrepreneurs because people are now like less scared. It's easier to go from the steps. So we're going to see amazing company emerging from everywhere. We're going to have the long tail of people that's going to be entrepreneur that's going to solve tinier problem in a more easy way, in a more affordable way. It's a plenty of SaaS or plenty of new product that's going to emerge that were too costly to produce and to make a company profitable, that will now be able to be profitable and to address like problems that nobody cared about because it was not possible to design a system for that, because it was too expensive to maintain, etc. So they're going to be job loss on the one hand, but they're going to be gain on the other side. And I think the big winners there will be the long tail. For instance, hairdressers. It's too expensive to have someone that's going to pick up the phone, a secretary that's going to pick up the phone, look at the agenda and find something. So you are a hairdresser, you're cutting the hairs. And I'm talking to everyone there because you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're cutting the hairs. Oh, I'm sorry, I have a call. I have to pick up the phone. Check. And you're there waiting and you wait and you wait. That's a bad experience. What you want to keep talking to your hairdresser. No, they're going to be about taking that. There was no way those people would be able to offer the personal secretary for that. There is no way they would be able to pay someone in the call centers to get like those scheduling, etc. More quality time, a new business emerged because it was not profitable. It's cheap, but people are making good business because the long tail is like a lot of hairdressers in the US, for instance. So what I mean, people will lose their job. People will create new type of jobs. Maybe people will be more entrepreneurs. There is the long tail to be addressed. There are many opportunities there. Just the world will change, and that's it. And we have to accept it.
It's very interesting. So as the world gets ready for a more AI-powered future, what are some of the best practices you'd like to share for end users, for businesses, for everyone across industries? So, there's certain things that I think everyone who's currently part of the commercial workplace needs to keep in mind, because this is an evolution, and it'll take a couple of years and decades to truly have it become mainstream. It's not quite there yet. So as we move towards this more AI powered, AI driven future, what are the thoughts and practices that everyone should kind of like adopt so that they can power through this entire evolution more effectively?
That's a good question, but it's not about technology. It's not about AI. It's about how you rethink the world experience of someone. It's about empathy, right? There are many things that we didn't do because it was not possible, too costly, too whatever. Now you have an unlock for all these people you mentioned. They could be like developers, they could be like salespeople, they could be marketing people, they could be like creators of experience or whatever. There is no limit anymore because of the cost, because of the capabilities of the people, etc. So the thing you have to keep in mind is um, get away from your computers and your emails and all these things. Look people in the eyes and ask what is their dream and their problem regarding your own product. Because there are so many things that you have in your company that you've limited yourself to dream of because you've been stuck into these crazy project management loops that are endless, etc. This is not the case anymore. You have more developers than ever. You have more solutions than ever. Every customer could have potentially a tailored experience, a tailored features, because no, you don't have to have a solution architect that's gonna design the things that goes into, this backlog and it's gonna be delivered in 3 years, and then you're not able to sell that to your customers, right? No, you can have a solution architect that's gonna probably talk to an AI, and your portal maybe in the future is gonna have these 3, 4, 5 reports that you dreamed about, that your customer dreamed about, that are just connecting to the MCP I mentioned, like the model context protocol, the system that kind of talk with the APIs, and is able to write its own code for your own customers. That's a new paradigm for a salesperson. That's gonna happen probably in the 2, 5 years from now, but that's gonna be amazing. You talk to the customer, you understand the pain, you just take notes, look at them in the eyes, and force them to tell their dream. That's going to be an amazing job to be a sales in the coming years. That's going to be amazing. But that's going to come directly in the meeting recorders or whatever. It's going to go into your system. The system is going to tailor the UI for the user. At the end of the call, you have a demo for them and say, is it what you're talking about? Just imagine if all our CRM, all our marketing tools, all our outbound tools, all our system or SaaS are able to self-adapt to the willingness of the people. That's going to be the most beautiful world we will be living in. And that's, to me, one of the things that I dream about the SaaS that's going to be, should reinvent itself. You build the back end, the front end is up to the customer and will be adapted to what they want. And it's possible to do it. So I'm sure, I have a conviction that one day we're going to have a company that's going to be exactly doing those kind of things. That's going to be it's not going to be bricks and drag and drop. It's going to be I'm prompting, the user gets its own experience. That's going to be amazing in my opinion. The next coming years will be probably a bit when you had electricity popping, in the past years, or when you started to have cars. I think we are a bit in this area.
Where everybody has it very deeply ingrained in their daily life. That's the future we are headed for. And I think it's going to be a very exciting future. And so I think there's so many more conversations we need to have around AI. But for today's chat, that's all we have time for. Thank you for taking the time to do this conversation with us. It's really been very insightful. And until we have you back again to dive deeper into what AI is turning out to be for humans, for businesses, for the world at large. We wish you and the team at Gladia all the very best. If there's anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up, we'd love to hear it.
No, I mean, you asked me so many questions. I wish everyone's going to have an amazing time with this AI journey. It's going to be amazing years. So enjoy. We don't have much opportunity in our life to live within those periods. So enjoy the journey.
Thanks so much, JL. And until the next time, all the very best.